This segment of the news is brought to you by Sun Oil Limited.
Welcome back. Former Cabinet Minister Shane Gibson's calling for all cases investigated by Assistant Superintendent of Police Deborah Thompson to be reviewed by a special commission to determine if they were handled properly. In a statement on his Facebook page hours after he was found not guilty and acquitted of the 15 bribery charges by a Supreme Court jury on Wednesday. In the post, Mr. Gibson said, quote, "I'm now thinking about the hundreds of persons who did not have the resources I had to fight this conspiracy." ASP Thompson said it's normal for them to bring witnesses together with their lawyers to work out differences in their statements. "I wonder how many innocent persons are before the courts as we speak, and how many innocent persons are in Fox Hill Prison as a result of these illegal practices, which ASP Deborah Thompson conceded happens all the time." ASP Thompson was the lead investigator for Gibson's case and admitted on the stand that she was wrong in hindsight for collecting statements in a joint meeting with both key witness Jonathan Ash and Deborah Bastian and their attorneys to synchronize their claims against former Cabinet Minister Shane Gibson. During the trial, lead defense attorney Keith Knight QC charged that the witnesses' lawyers assisted in telling their clients how to give their statements, while ASP Thompson further advised them what should be said and left out. Meantime, Attorney General Carl Bethel's calling comments made in a local daily by Gibson's attorney, Damian Gomez QC, deplored. According to the AG, it appears to be an unseemly attempt to intimidate and besmirch law enforcement officials and Crown prosecutors while also threatening their continued employment. A statement today said, quote, "If Mr. Gomez and his clients have legal issues with anything done by the prosecution or police investigators, there are established legal remedies which he can pursue on behalf of his clients, none of which involve loose and apparently malicious threats against the employment or employability of any prosecutor or public official engaged in a legal process before our courts," end quote. The statement wrapped up saying that a civil society cannot long survive if the administration or justice and the administrators or the system of justice can be subjected to such apparent threats aimed at their continued employment as members of the bar or law enforcement officers. Supreme Court Justice Roy Jones will make a decision next week on whether or not he will stay the execution order from the Supreme Court, which sentenced Canadian fashion mogul Peter Nygaard to 90 days imprisonment. Mr. Nygaard's attorney, Richard Martin, and Code Smith made arguments yesterday to stop the execution order in the Court of Appeal. Mr. Martin argued that Mr. Nygaard was robbed of the right to be heard and that medical conditions of the 80-year-old prevented him from returning to the Bahamas at the time, though it has not been made an official position before the court. Last week, Justice Ruth Bodarville sentenced Mr. Nygaard to 90 days in prison after he was found in contempt after he violated an injunction which barred him from publishing emails from the environmental group Save the Bays. Justice Bodarville also ruled that Nygaard could avoid an additional 30 days in prison if he pays a $150,000 fine within 7 days. She ordered the fine to increase by $5,000 for each day that it remains unpaid. Mr. Smith contends that Mr. Nygaard has paid the $150,000 fine, but only paid the $5,000 a day for 3 days. Mr. Nygaard was sentenced for contempt of court in a case concerning the theft of emails from advocacy group Save the Bays. Our final story is up next.
This segment of the news has been brought to you by Sun Oil Limited.